welcome to Behind the Grind, powered by Sherrod Speaks. And I am so excited for an opportunity to talk to a very good young man here. I call him a young man. He's probably half my age, right? But this young man is doing some great and wonderful things. God has just got his hand on him. And so here at Behind the Grind, I just want to talk to individuals that are really making an impact and making a difference. And a lot of the things that they're doing is for change and for whatever God has inspired them to do. And so I want to introduce you to a very young man. I keep calling him a young man, Donovan Colquitt.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes. Well, welcome to Behind the Grind.
I'm excited. Let's do this.
And so, let's just start off. Let's just jump into it. I mean, they're probably wondering, why are we having this conversation today? So tell a little bit about yourself, what you're doing, what's going on, and what's happening.
Yes. So like he said, I am Donovan Colquitt. I am currently a Ph.D. student and a master's student. The Ph.D. is for engineering education.
Okay.
And the master's is in technology, leadership, and innovation.
Wow.
With a specialization in STEM education leadership. It's a mouthful.
Wow, that's a lot. Wait a minute. Hold on. You started off with a master's and a Ph.D.?
Right. I did it backwards. I'm a second year Ph.D. student and a first year master's. So I guess
you got to explain.
I have to explain it. So the Ph.D. is with a professor, my advisor, who specializes in informal learning and K through 12 or P through 12 engineering education. And so I wanted to really get into entrepreneurship and merge engineering and entrepreneurship and youth, especially with a diversity lens on that.
Okay.
So I decided to reach out to a master's advisor in the Department of Technology, Leadership, and Innovation who specializes in entrepreneurship and engineering for K through 12 students.
Really?
So I figured, why not get both my master's and my PhD? So I guess I'll explain even further.
Yeah.
What I study is how minoritized youth access engineering and entrepreneurship while leveraging their culture to build businesses to impact their communities.
That's already something. No, seriously, that sounds like impact. Strong
Thank you.
Impact. And so we're gonna circle back to and try to kind of peel back, like, how did we get to this point? Because that's a lot right there. Yes. I'm already stopped with the PhD and the master's, all that wrapped in one. I'm like, wow. But before we get to that, let's just kind of talk a little bit about you. I mean, you before then, where did you do your undergrad? Where did you grow up? Like, tell us a little bit about this, because, a lot of times, did you come from some background that this was expected? Or, talk a little bit about that.
That's a good question. So I went to the University of Michigan for a undergraduate degree in mechanical engineering with a minor in sustainable engineering.
Okay.
I'm from the Detroit area. I went to DPS schools until fourth grade, and then we moved to Southfield, and I went to Southfield schools all throughout. Graduated from Southfield Lathrop High School.
So you're a Detroiter, native, all of that good stuff. Okay.
Yep.
Southfield High Schools. Okay.
Oh yeah, rest in peace. It's no longer there anymore.
It's not. Okay. It's not. So I don't know a lot because I'm from Flint. And this is where I spend most of my career here in the Detroit area. But I don't know much about the high school, and so you feel free to share how that happened. I know all my schools in Flint, they closed them down.
Oh yeah.
Most of them are closed down now. But okay, so tell us a little bit more. So you got into mechanical engineering. I hear a lot of engineering.
Yes.
How did we get to this engineering, man?
So I come from a family of engineers.
Okay.
I didn't really realize that when I chose engineering. So my aunts are both engineers. My dad is a design engineer. My aunts are both mechanical engineers. I put that. And I used to love playing with Hot Wheels.
Okay.
And I love playing with video games. So I figured I would get to play with cars all day if I became a mechanical engineer.
That's right.
So in the Motor City, there's the big three. I'm guaranteed to get a job here, working on cars, playing with cars, doing whatever I want to with cars. So that's why that was my child's mindset. Is if I become a mechanical engineer, I'll be able to have fun with cars.
All the time for my job. This
right.
is what I do. Work on cars.
Every day.
So was some of that realized as you got into your career a little bit? Or?
So, actually I did work in Flint for a summer. I was an intern at General Motors.
Okay, makes sense.
I interned at General Motors for 2 summers. The first time was at Flint in their Flint truck assembly.
Yeah.
Then the second time was in Brownstown in their battery assembly plant where they were working on the battery for the Volt.
Okay.
So I had this big idea that I wanted to work in the energy sector. It was the new biggest thing that was happening for cars. So at my internship when I was in Flint, it was a 3 million square foot facility, and I was a facilities engineer, meaning that I had to basically upkeep the entire facility. And I had some very, the jobs were very, just keeping me busy.
Yeah.
So I had to walk the through.
Challenging you.
It wasn't challenging. I'll give you two jobs. One was, I think, was important. Okay. I had to investigate the entire fire suppression system, top floor and bottom. Okay. Making sure that the fire sprinklers, they covered the entire area. Okay. So, and then the second one was making sure that all of the water fountains were piped from, I think it was from storm water to clean water to sewer. So we had to repipe them to sewer water. Okay. And so I'm walking this 3 million square foot facility every day. Yeah. And time goes by so much faster when you're doing nothing but walking. And I found out that, you know what? Mechanical engineering at an automotive facility isn't really for me.
Okay. So it wasn't the cars. It wasn't the Hot Wheels.
I didn't get to touch anything cool. I just found out that it was a lot more dirty work involved in it. And I didn't appreciate it as much as I thought I would.
How old were you at this time?
I was.
Because you don't look that. Like I said, you have my age. So I know you can't be. You're still in the 20s, right?
I'm 26 now. Okay. I think I was 21 and 22 when I was in those two internships.
Could you look any younger?
I guess not. Thank you. I appreciate that. Seriously. I gotta recognize that I'm still young.
Yes, embrace it.
I know. I gotta. I'm holding on to the years now. I'm like 26. I'm about to be 27 in a month or two.
Yeah. So a lot has happened since 21 to today, and we'll get to that. And we even want to talk about you're young, married, and all that good stuff. So we'll talk about that too. But let's talk a little bit. I think I heard you do a speech one time, and you were talking a little bit about growing up. I think it was playing about video games, kind of like what you were talking about. And even 2008, the crisis. Yep. How that impacted you during that time. I think a lot of times we look at. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because when you had said that, I'm like, wow, we look at it from a different perspective. Like, of course, I was in my career. I'm working during that time in 2008. I'm being impacted. I'm one of those ones that being impacted.
Everybody.
But you're in school, right? You what? What grade are you in at this time?
I was 2007, 2008. I think I was in ninth grade. Ninth grade.
So walk us through that, the impact of that, how that happened as a child, right? Right. Per se, teenager, whatever. How does that impact you? And then how did that maybe frame what you're doing today, or how does it impact you?
Absolutely. So I'll roll it back a little bit and give you a little bit more of the story from leading up to that.
Yeah.
So when I was in the 4th grade, I love playing video games. I had hundreds of video games. Yeah. And I remember playing this game on the PlayStation 1.
Wow.
Yeah, the original PlayStation. Playing Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 3. And I had my dream car there. It was the new blue Corvette at the time.
Gotcha.
My favorite color is blue, by the way.
Oh, nice.
And nice. Yeah. So as a little 4th grader, I'm trying to figure out, how do I get that blue Corvette? How do I get that?
This is your little mind, little 4th grade.
Yeah, I'm like, there's no way. I'm not making any money. But I came to my mom.
Wait a minute, who does that? Like, you're 4th grade thinking about how you gonna get a Corvette?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. I'm trying to figure this out.
Blue skies, clear blue skies, drop top. Oh man, I dreamed it. But I made a deal with my mom that if I got a full ride to the University of Michigan, because I was brainwashed and wanted to go to the University of Michigan, because it's the best.
You say brainwashed? Who brainwashed you? Just
my mom's friends who had alumni in the, they were Michigan everything.
They weren't pushing Sparty.
No.
Okay.
Never.
Now, I don't want to cause no problems.
Never. Are you a Sparty?
You know what? I go back and forth. As you can see, I went to Grand Valley School.
Oh yeah, okay.
So I didn't pay tuition to either school. I could go either way if I choose.
Just go Michigan. It'll be a lot easier. you'll be with the leaders and best.
Okay. It's interesting, but go ahead.
So I made a deal with my mom that if I got a full ride to University of Michigan for engineering, really, then I would get a new blue Corvette when I graduated.
As a fourth grader.
As a fourth grader. Okay. So the bet was on.
Okay.
And I was already doing well in school.
I love it.
We had just moved to Southfield in the fourth grade. So
you moving from Detroit
to Southfield.
Things are looking great. Go ahead.
And I didn't do that well. I was all A's my third grade when I was going to my elementary school in Detroit.
Okay.
And when I got to Southfield schools, I got my first C. It was very challenging. Okay. It wasn't detrimental.
Yeah.
It was just like, I remember my report card coming in the day before. I couldn't sleep. I was like, I know I got to C. Wow. But it was around those times where I was really struggling academically for the first time, really, that it challenged me to grow and to expand and be willing to learn and overcome those different different challenges that came about. So by the time 2008 came, I was in Southfield schools for about 5 years. And I was getting all A's again, honor roll, dean's list student. And when ninth grade hit, it was the automotive bailout, Great Recession hit.
What's going on here?
A lot going on. A lot of my family lost their jobs.
Wow. So you witnessed all this?
I witnessed all of it as a teenager. Wow. And my parents, my dad was an electrician, and people didn't need to get their lights worked on when they weren't making money. Exactly. So he wasn't really working. My mom worked for one of the big three. I can't remember exactly who now. Okay. But she lost her job. Yeah,
because all of them were impacted.
Right, exactly. My dad, both. So I have a blended family, so both of my dads lost their jobs.
Oh, wow.
And we ended up losing our home that same year, and we moved into a not so great townhome or townhouse. And I'll spare you the details, but they weren't that great. Okay. I'll just put it that way. So it was at that time that I really realized that, look, this Corvette is not coming. They won't be able to afford.
So right? The ninth grader, you're starting to say, this bet is off.
Okay. Right, this bet might be off. Wow. And even furthermore, they won't be able to afford my education.
Okay.
And it was to the point where they were struggling so much just to have a roof over our head and to, feed us every day. Yeah. I didn't want them to make any more sacrifices for me. So I took ownership of my education even more.
Wow.
And I started to do more than just do well academically. I started really getting involved in leadership.
Wow.
I started taking on more extracurricular activities. Wow. I started working more jobs. So
I don't mean to cut you off.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
You're in the ninth grade and you took this on. It just like a light bulb came on.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
I own this. I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to do what I can do.
It's my job
to make this happen.
My education, my future. It's my job to get it done.
Wow.
So I by the time I graduated, I had worked 3 jobs at once. At one point in time, at the same time, I worked 3 jobs. I was in National Honor Society, Student Congress. I was on a lot. I was on a tennis team, varsity tennis team, cross country, track and field. Yes.
Wow.
And I had above a 4.0.
Okay.
Even when I graduated. And yes, I don't know how I had the time. I don't know how it all happened, but honestly, I was focused. I was so focused that I didn't even realize what I was working toward. Wow. It was just something that I knew I had to take ownership of. And I by the time that my junior year rolled around, I knew it was time to start applying for scholarships.
Okay.
So I remember my spring semester, I had a really easy computer course where all we did was type up emails that were templated. And, by the time I finished the emails, I was a fast typer. I had about 45 minutes left of the class. So it was then where I started to apply for scholarships.
Okay, so you use that time to apply for scholarships.
Exactly. So that was, it was like, I better do this because there's no better time than when I have nothing better to do.
Okay, hold on. But nobody's telling you to do this.
Nobody had to tell me anything. I've been doing all the work. I knew that I was investing in myself and in my future. Yeah. And that's what I really do tell other young adults is that they are the future. Their future is invaluable. Their education is worth so much more to them and their generations to come. Yeah. Their legacy is really built on the wealth that they can sustain and everything that they can build for themselves. Right. So when I was applying for a bunch of scholarships that spring semester, and I remember applying to like 5 in one day. Okay. And not getting an email back, a call back, a text message, nothing. Yeah. And so instead of being deterred, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to keep doing this.
So you didn't let that deter you?
It didn't deter me. I kept going for it. Yeah. And, the whole spring went by.
But so you get, and I don't mean, but you're getting, not rejections, but not hearing anything.
Not hearing anything. Silence.
So after about the 8th or 9th time, you didn't say, well, forget about it.
Nope. Wow. So one thing that my mom told me, since my last name is Colquitt, she raised me on Colquitts never give up.
I love it.
Colquitts never quit.
I love it.
And I think that kind of held that mantra for all of my life. It's just
that was not the option. Quitting was not the option.
No, failure was not the option. And I think failure is a good thing. I think failure is a part of the learning process. Sure. But really quitting when you give up, that's the end.
Control. You make the decision to quit as opposed to failing. Failing, it happens. You go out, a business doesn't happen, whatever, you fail. But quitting, you own that.
Exactly. So had I stopped, I wouldn't have made it as far as I did. So I had been working summers doing lawn care, doing other work.
So you creating an entrepreneur job. So I'm loving this, man. I'm loving this.
So I guess the entrepreneurial aspect for me is really built on my parents. Yeah. My mother owned 2 edible arrangements with my stepfather. Wow. Both of my fathers did lawn care, and I worked for them. And so, my stepfather and mother also did. They flipped homes for a little bit.
So there's just entrepreneurial spirit in your family.
Exactly.
Around you. Wow, this is beautiful.
And I was, watching that as a little kid, just absorbing it in, not knowing what was going on, but I just knew that they were taking care of us.
For you,
right?
For the most part, right?
Exactly. Learned behavior just through observation. Yeah. And so, when my summer came around, I decided not to really work as hard because I just knew something was coming. Yeah. I didn't know what it was. It's in the spirit. I said, my parents were like, you need to figure out what you're going to do for the summer. You can't, this is your laziest summer yet. And
what is this summer? What, 2000 what?
This is 2010.
This is 2010.
This is my junior year. This is the end of my junior year going into my senior year. Okay. And
I'm loving your parents. Go ahead.
I know, they're pushing me. And so I get a letter in the mail from the University of Michigan. Wow. They had the Summer College Engineering Exposure Program. Okay. And so this was I think 9-day summer camp where we basically worked on engineering projects. Nice. And we got exposed to engineering and the campus. Yeah. Specifically the College of Engineering side of the campus. Okay. And it was at that time where I was really doing well academically. Right. I was in everything at school. Yeah. And when I got there, I just felt really small. I was like, these other kids know much more than me. Yeah, they know. They have more. They have better experiences. Yeah. They actually have done some engineering work with cars.
Are they coming from all different places?
They're mostly from Michigan, but some were from Chicago. There are a few different places.
It's not like it's a group of people from Detroit.
Right.
Gotcha.
And it's like 20 of us. Yeah. So a lot of the time they're connected through parents who are also engineers. colleges, and so they know certain people, and they learn about the exposure program. And so I get there, and I'm thinking I was humble when I got that C in 4th grade. Yeah. So I never think I'm smarter than anybody else. I always assume I'm the dumbest. Yeah, set the bar. I'm like forever.
I won't talk about my C experience. I had quite a few. Go ahead.
But I came in and I just did not think I held a candle to them.
Yeah.
And so we're in our team projects. Our team project, I think, was about 20 people around there in the entire camp. So we were split in teams of 12. And I think we had 3 different separate sub teams. And so we were working on roller coasters, using like Roller Coaster Tycoon and doing engineering calculations and different things of that nature. And so when we were done, we were wrapping up the last day. We also had to do presentations. But these presentations, we had a set for presentations for the actual team project. And then we had to do individual presentations.
Oh, interesting.
And the individual presentations were about ourselves, what we were doing academically, what advanced placement courses we were taking, what extracurriculars activities we were in, what leadership experiences we had. If we worked, put it in there, put everything in there. And I don't know if you realize this, but I'm a really quiet guy.
That's what I thought.
I don't like to talk a lot. And when I was...
You like to grind, but you don't have to do all that.
Silent grind, right.
I love it. But right.
And...
so they're putting you on... I can feel you.
Yes, I was on the spot. I remember being terrified to do presentations. I would have a shooting pain up my spine.
It was like that?
Yes, I had physiological symptoms of my terror.
Wow.
So when I get into this presentation and I'm already feeling very small compared to everybody else. I mean, I remember one student, he could solve a Rubik's Cube in like 20 seconds.
Wow.
And he would teach people how to solve the Rubik's Cube. I'm just like, there's no way. I could never do that. So when I do the presentation, I'm getting through it. I didn't really stumble, which I'm very proud of. But I just remember seeing a lady in the back, she was furiously writing. She's looking at me and shaking her head.
You're seeing this lady.
And I'm like, am I doing something right or wrong or whatever? I'm just going to keep doing what I got to do. And I didn't realize while we were doing presentations at the time, but at the closing ceremony, they announced that they would give a $40,000 scholarship to 10 of the students in the camp.
Get out of here.
And they didn't announce us by name initially. They announced by the activities that they were involved in. And so, a few of the first few students got announced their activities and what they're involved in. And then they say the name, and then the parents and the student come up and receive the plaque. And I'm like, okay, Rubik's Cube guy definitely got it. Why not? And then they say random acts of kindness. And I'm like, okay, that was committee chairperson. I'm like, random acts of kindness. I was the chairperson for that. Then they say some other things.
So they're reading this list off, right?
And I'm like, wait, that can't be me. That's not me.
I love it.
They finally say my name, and I'm like, okay, I can't deny it anymore. It's me. And we had,
so you had no idea.
Yep, I had no idea. They had 6 families already up on stage, and none of them were. It was kind of like they expected. Like of course my kid is great.
It's expected.
Parents chill.
People, right?
Yep. Parents were chill. Like, oh yeah, definitely. Why wouldn't he get this scholarship? When me and my mom, who raised me as a single mother till I was 10, when me and my mom got up on that stage, she bust out crying.
I can only imagine.
Only parent that cried the entire ceremony. And it just really meant something to both of us. I mean, she kind of had me sniffling a little bit.
No, that's awesome, man. This is so, and I want to talk a little bit about this. You had some exposure. You're around a group of people. They were somewhat pushing you, right?
Yes.
Kind of elevating you a little bit.
Yes, challenging me.
And at the same time, you sound like you just got your head down, just doing what you're supposed to do. And that you didn't even expect the scholarship to take place.
I didn't even know it was coming. And that was the first scholarship I won. And, that wasn't the end. I knew I looked at the cost of attendance, around $30,000 a year.
Yeah.
So that $40,000 only paid $10,000. Yeah, $10,000 a year. I got 2/3 left every year. So that didn't deter me from applying for more scholarships.
So let's talk about that. I didn't mean to stop you.
Go ahead.
Talking about, but you have, what I really am fascinated about it is you have a book that helps, I guess, high school, middle schoolers to high schoolers get ready, apply for scholarships. I'm curious, I'm hearing your story, but I'm curious, how do you write this story? Because this book has been out for how long?
Oh, man, it's been out since 2015.
2015.
But I wrote it in 2011.
Wow. Okay.
So, so I'm applying for scholarships. I applied my senior year, and you hear back. You apply in the fall, you hear back in the spring.
Yeah.
I applied to at least 15, 20 different scholarships, and you don't hear back until about April.
Yeah.
Or I think April, March.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to tear open award letters from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Gates Millennium Scholarship.
Nice.
I was the first African American and one of the first 5 to ever receive the Buick Achievers Scholarship through the General Motors Foundation. Wow. I got the KFC Colonel Scholarship, which, yes, I did get free chicken in addition.
Nice.
And I also won 3 different scholarships from the University of Michigan.
Nice.
So it was $100,000 from the University of Michigan in itself.
So you didn't just stop with one scholarship. You just keep...
And I kept getting them. And by April, I had won $1.25 million in scholarships.
Whoa. Seriously?
Yes. $1.25 million in scholarships. I did not have to worry about anything in terms of paying off the cost of attendance. And it was a blessing. It was something that just, it fell into place, and I did not get a rejection at all from any scholarship organization.
That is awesome, man.
After I won the scholarships, the General Motors Foundation for the Buick Achiever Scholarship flew us out to see the Final Four basketball game.
Oh, so that just was thrown in too.
Yep. Just, here you go.
So working hard and God bless you, and then you just get this little extra.
All right. I didn't know it was coming at all. Didn't, and they just really made the occasion very special for us. It was actually in the hotel room when I was, at the end of the day, we had done a little bit of a news round, doing interviews and different things of that nature, being shown to different other athletes at the games. And I was completely in shock. It didn't go to my head at all because I still have this complex where I'm like,
fourth grade,
people are smarter than me. Trust me. So I got to the hotel room by myself. I was like, you know what? I really need to write a book to motivate. Exactly. So I made an outline right then and there.
Wow. I'm loving this.
And within the first week, I had written most of the book. I had written most of the Scholar's Key, how you can unlock your dreams as a teen to motivate other teens to apply for scholarships, because I hate to see students not know how to get their next meal.
Let me just stop.
Yeah.
So you understood it. You really unlocked it. You took it, and something inspired you. Say, I got to put this in writing. I got to write this. So you just started writing. You were what, 18?
I'm 18. Yes, I'm 18
years old. Just started writing.
Just started writing, and it just all kind of flew onto the page. It flowed right there.
Yeah.
And within a week, I had written most of the book. I started adding a little bit by bit for the next year.
Right.
And I had other Gates Millennium Scholars answer questionnaires that aligned with the chapters in the book. And, it really just took form. I don't even know how I did that. And on top of the jobs and the extracurricular activities, but it was meant to happen. Yes.
I love it. That's what this Behind the Grind is about. Seriously, I want to talk to individuals like yourself that just you're just in the midst of doing what you do, and God is just allowing things to open. You're taking maybe what others may call a challenge, and you're learning how to, how to grow from it or bounce back from it. Just listening to this whole story is amazing. Like you didn't take a rejection and just stop stop doing it. Like we talked about, you didn't quit. It's beautiful. So now let's talk, how can people, because I do want people to know about this book. I need to have a daughter that's in the 9th grade. Awesome. I definitely need her to have this book. How can people go about, how can they get this book into the hands of students? How can they get a hold of you? Let's talk about that. Like,
yes.
How do we get that book?
Yes, so you can get the book on Amazon.
Okay.
It's The Scholar's Key, How You Can Unlock Your Dreams as a Teen. Mm-hmm. You can also find the book and more information about the book on thescholarskey.com. Okay. Or you can do scholarsKey.com or scholarsKey.academy. Okay. I have 3 different links just so anybody can find it. But if you type in The Scholar's Key, it should be the first thing that shows up on Google. Nice. You can also find me on Instagram, Twitter. I don't really use Twitter or Instagram for that matter. Okay. But you can find me at Donovan Colquitt or at The Scholar's Key.
And they can get a hold of it that way?
And you can get a hold of it that way. You can also email me directly at donovan@thescholarskey.com.
Okay. Now, we're not getting out of here yet. You got a few more minutes.
Yes.
Well, before we go, one other thing I did want to talk to you. I know we can't get it all in tonight. But I would love for you to come back when you're in town.
Of course.
You happen to be in town. I was like, no, we got to talk before you go. Matter of fact, you're leaving in a few days. Right?
Yes, a few days. New Year's Day.
But one of the things that today I'm seeing you by yourself, right?
Right.
But you're young, married man. This man is married, so you're already taken. But you and your wife have been together for. Tell us about that.
Okay. So me and my wife have been together for over 10 years. Nice. I am 26. She is 26.
That's nice.
We met in the 8th grade. And I like to say this. I saw her in the 7th grade and she dressed so professional. I was like, oh man, she's in the 8th grade. I'll never be able to, date her.
Oh, wow.
And 8th grade year, we were in the same math class together and we saw each other. I was like, yes, it's my time to shine. I got her number and we talked for long amounts of time.
Okay, I gotta pause you because I come from, I'm Generation X, on the end, all that. So it was a long time ago. So we used to go to approach the women a certain way. Are you considered millennial or more?
I'm millennial.
You are a millennial?
Yep.
So how do you get the number?
Man. Oh my gosh. You know what?
The cell phone working with, what was happening?
We both had flip phones.
Oh, you did
back in the day, yes. Back in the day. What is it? That's a relative term. But yes, I asked for her number because a friend pressured me to.
Okay.
So, we had already known each other a little bit. And I said, hey, can I call you later?
Tired of you talking about her, probably.
Right. I know you like her. Why are you not talking to her? So it was one of those moments where when we first saw each other in class, where I noticed her and she noticed me.
Nice.
And once I got her number, she was the first person to ever text me because I wasn't big on the phone technology either. But we talked for long periods of time. We talked till 3 a.m. just talking. I don't even know what we talked about half the time, but we did say I love you in 8th grade, and we really meant it. Wow. We really did mean it. People call it puppy love. No, it was full grown. It was definitely a love that I hadn't experienced. I hadn't known a love like her.
That's awesome.
And she kind of ended things. She wasn't allowed to date till she was 16. So we weren't a couple. Okay. But she got nervous because when we were graduating from the 8th grade, she asked if our parents should meet and have lunch together. And then she freaked out and said, we shouldn't talk anymore. Right. This is too much. So it took 2 more years. Okay. We were at the end of 10th grade and somebody told me that she still liked me. So I called her again. And we, that summer, it was just we just started dating. That's awesome. We actually got together the day after her birthday.
That's awesome. You went to college together too? Or?
We went to middle school, high school, and college together.
I love it. I love it, man. Oh, man. So I've enjoyed the conversation. I won't hold in anyone any longer. Obviously, we've gone a long time today. I'm just talking and chopping it up. And so I definitely want to come back. Obviously, you're in the program.
Yes.
You're working on the master's, the Ph.D., all that great stuff at the University of Purdue, right?
Purdue University. Yep.
I'm saying
you got it. You got it. It don't matter. Purdue is the only thing you need to know.
That's school in Purdue, right? So you're working on that, and so we definitely want to continue to keep
Absolutely.
up. Oh, but I do want to mention, I know you recently you got awarded some things, a couple of things,
yes.
right? What was it?
So I got the 40 under 40 through the Michigan Chronicle.
Nice. And
I also was a part of a STEM Success Summit.
STEM, yes, okay.
So we got together a team, a lot of heavy hitters in STEM under the umbrella of STEM Media, which is helmed by a professor named Dr. Nehemiah Mabry.
Do you mind explaining STEM just for some audience?
Oh, yeah.
Understand STEM? Sometimes we call it STEM. Is it, what is all that, the letter STEM?
Oh, yeah, all these
STEM.
acronyms. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Okay.
So I almost said my major. But the STEM Success Summit was geared towards early career professionals who are looking for or really getting a better idea into what are different STEM career pathways that they could take down. And so we came together to really host a free virtual summit to encourage people. Right? It ended up being for a larger audience than we were initially aiming for. So it became geared towards elementary to those in their careers.
Really?
And we had 20 phenomenal speakers. We had over 1,000 registered attendees.
Nice.
And from 14 different time zones.
Nice.
And it was, it couldn't have gone better if I had dreamt it.
Nice.
It was a great experience. A lot of the team that we had work on this summit, it was the first time that we actually met in person to host the summit.
Wow.
It just worked.
So you still on the grind, young man. So you still grinding it out.
Still grinding.
I like, just sitting here having this conversation. I understand that, you're a man of faith. You believe all that good stuff. And so I think a lot of that has impacted you in the way that you just believe.
Absolutely.
You just have this mindset to know that if a challenge comes, there's a way out of it. And maybe that comes to that engineering mind. I don't know. But that is so awesome. And I just wanted to take this time to share to my audience, again, I want to make sure we all know that there's ways that we can do it, no matter what age you are. You know what I mean? If you're in high school,
there's always a way.
You can still take control and take ownership and make some things happen.
Absolutely.
So that's pretty much all I have today with the Behind the Grind podcast. And so I'm so glad again that I was able to get Donovan just to come in today and talk to us. But I hope that this has been beneficial. I know it's been beneficial to me. I'm fascinated by it. I
had fun.
And then next time maybe we'll have your wife and we'll maybe do a double up.
A couples podcast.
Podcast. But I enjoy you, man. So, man, best of luck. Continue to do what you're doing. Continue to impact the youth that you're doing. What I love about it is that you're in the grind. You're still building, but as you're building, you're still helping. And I think that's phenomenal. Again, if you don't know this guy, follow this guy. If you know anybody that can benefit from the information that he shares to the youth, to those in the STEM, and to those that are looking for scholarships, please go out and follow my man, Donovan.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Right. To the next episode of Behind the Grind.